Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 14, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men, and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is your brother Hawaii. I want to give all praise and glory to our Heavenly Father Yahweh, in the name of our Lord and Savior Yahawashi. Peace, mercy, and blessings to the hopeful elect that are waiting on the coming of our Lord and Savior Yahawashi HaMashiach, who will sit on the throne as the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, with many crowns upon his head, with the elect, which are joint heirs with him, that will reign in his kingdom that shall last forever, even forever and ever. So today we're going to go over a keyword study. We're going to go over this because of the things that sometimes brothers have been taught, listening to other groups and camps, unfortunately listening to men that are false teachers that are crafty in their doctrine and in their deceit, that they may deceive men and keep them away from the truth and keep them in darkness rather than for them to be able to see the light. So in order for us to be able to help brothers and sisters grow, we must be able to destroy these strongholds that are ahead of us. So this particular lesson, keyword study that we're doing, is today going to be on the actual physical grave. It's going to be a pretty short lesson because the other one I'm going to have to go through a lot more precepts, so that way we can basically dispel the notion that about the words hell and the grave, especially in dealing with the scriptures. Okay, and it's very important for us to understand this so that we may understand the mysteries of the gospel of our Lord Yahawashi. So as we go on to Genesis chapter 50 and verse 5, this is when Jacob had died, and this is Joseph wanting to bury him, of course, according to the commandment that was given to him. So starting at Genesis chapter 50 and verse 5, my father made me swear, saying, Lo, I die in my grave, which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan. There shalt thou bury me. Now therefore let me go up, I pray thee, and bury my father, and I will come again. So this is Joseph speaking to Pharaoh concerning the promise that he made to his father, that he will bury him in the land of Canaan. Now let's go ahead and look and see exactly what this word for grave is. Okay, so if you remember, they had to keep the bones of him that they may be able to go and take his bones and bury them in the land. Okay, so when we go here, this is Strong's G 6913, which the word there is Quabar. It says here grave, sepulcher, tomb. When you look at it, how often it was used, you can scroll down and see here that that word Quabar was in the English, translated in the King James, in the Old Testament, grave 35 times, sepulcher 25 times, and burying place 6 times. So this indicates an actual physical burying place for the body. Job chapter 17 and verse 1. My breath is corrupt, my days are extinct, the graves are ready for me. Let's see what Job was talking about. That word there for graves is again H6913 Quabar. Okay, so as we know, again, it matches up with what we brought out in Genesis. There's multiple scriptures that you can read concerning this particular word. There's also another one known as Quabara that you'll also read if you read about Rachel when she died and she was buried. You'll also read that word there was Quabara, which is basically the same thing, a burying place and a place of memorial, because it was also put as a pillar for her in that burying place. So that way you get the context of how some of these words are used. So this right here is showing in the Old Testament that this particular word for grave, sepulcher, tomb, as it's been used in the Old Testament, is referring to the actual physical grave where a body is buried and laid to rest. And then, of course, as we know, the soul, according to the less in spirit, soul, and body. The soul goes to Sheol, according to the Hebrew text, and according to the Greek, it is going to be Hades. So we're going to go into the New Testament, and this is going to be red letter. This is Yahawashi speaking. This is John chapter 5 and verse 28. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. Okay, so the key thing that we're bringing up is the grave, the actual physical grave of people coming out, because we know that Yahawashi was given the power to raise the people out to the last day for judgment, okay, which is a very vital aspect of the principles of Yahawashi, which is the resurrection, okay, the resurrection of the dead. So here, we're going to go into John chapter 5 and verse 28, and as you go to John chapter 5 and verse 28, we go down to the word for graves, okay, and this is of course a Greek word because we're in the New Testament. This is Strong G 34:19. Okay, and you see here, you'll probably play it. See, I don't know if it's going to sound good for y'all.
Strong's G 34:19. Mene Mayan. Mene Mayan.
Mene Mayan. Okay, and let's see exactly how it's being used. We see here the King James translates Strong's G 34:19 in the following manner. Okay, sepulcher, grave, tomb. It's pretty much the same thing as how it's translated and used in the Old Testament. Those same words in the English also have the same. So we know that this particular word is a matching word for word from the Greek to the Hebrew and Hebrew to the Greek. They're interchangeable. Okay? So, as we know, there's going to be more verses. It says here there's 38 verses, and if you read these 38 verses, you're going to see a consistent theme of what they mean. This is an actual physical grave where a body is laid to rest, okay? And as we know, that's basically an important thing for us to understand when it comes to the doctrine, the principle of the resurrection of the dead. And that way we'll have a better understanding when we read these things in regards to eternal judgment, in regards to your salvation. All those things are very vital and important for you to understand the words that are written, the understanding of the definition of these words, both Hebrew and Greek, so that way you do not get deceived by these false teachers with the cunning craftiness by where they lie in wait to deceive. So hopefully this is edifying. And again, I want to give all praise and glory to our Heavenly Father Yahweh, in the name of our Lord and Savior Yahawashi. Peace, mercy, and blessings to the whole full elect. Shalom.